North Macedonia in a nutshell, where nods mean no and coffee lasts hours. In North Macedonia, a headshake means yes, cash is rarely used, and coffee dates stretch into hours of conversation. Though often overlooked, this Balkan gem offers rich culture, deep warmth, and a rhythm all its own. Ready to discover Europe's most surprising secret? North Macedonia, Europe's most intriguing cultural mosaic. Tucked away between towering peaks and historic valleys, North Macedonia is a land where nature and identity are inseparable. Roughly the size of Vermont in the U.S., just under 10,000 square kilometers, this nation may be modest in scale but is immense in experience. Over three-quarters of the country is cloaked in mountainous terrain. From the craggy majesty of Mount Korab to the emerald folds of Galichnik National Park, North Macedonia breathes elevation and isolation, making every trip feel like stepping into a lost world. Villages here appear to float on the sky, linked by serpentine roads that wrap around cliffs and lakes like ancient ribbons. Hiking isn't just recreation. It's a pilgrimage through memory, myth, and raw nature. And then there's Lake Ohrid, a body of water so old it predates many civilizations. Believed to be more than 1 million years in age, it's one of only a handful of lakes worldwide recognized by UNESCO for both its natural wonder and cultural weight. Ancient Byzantine monasteries, submerged Roman ruins, and schools that once shaped Slavic literacy all ring its shores. Biologists often call Ohrid the Galapagos of Europe, thanks to its hundreds of endemic species. But it's more than a scientific curiosity. It's a living museum where history whispers through the waves. Perhaps what's most magical about North Macedonia is how cultures overlap without conflict. One morning, you could sip thick Greek-style coffee while listening to Orthodox church bells. By lunch, you're enjoying Albanian-style pastries as a Roma brass band erupts into song. And as the sun sets, you might hear traditional Serbian love songs echoing off the hills. Few places in Europe offer such a seamless symphony of identities. Would you rather live in a cliffside village kissed by mist, or along the ancient shores of a prehistoric lake? Let us know where your heart would call home. Women of North Macedonia, strength in beauty, power in tradition. Women in North Macedonia embody a graceful contradiction, grounded in heritage, yet fully modern in spirit, with striking features that blend Balkan, Mediterranean, and Slavic influences. They reflect the complexity of their homeland, not only through appearance, but through the way they carry history forward. One of the most iconic cultural expressions is the marama scarf. Worn with pride, it silently communicates a woman's marital status and community role, white for single women, darker tones for those who are married. In some regions, even the way it's tied or folded reveals age or family lineage. It's not fashion, it's coded language. But these women are more than tradition bearers. They're leading doctors, teachers, engineers, and politicians. Many are polyglots, navigating multiple cultures and languages with fluency. North Macedonian women are reshaping their roles, not by rejecting the past, but by weaving it into their futures. Evening in a typical village might reveal a beautiful paradox. A young woman who's spent her day running a tech startup in the capital returns home to help prepare for a harvest festival, donning her marama and singing ancestral songs passed down through generations. This cultural duality is their power, the ability to live in two worlds and call both home. The Galichnik Wedding, where love becomes folklore. High in the western mountains of North Macedonia lies Galichnik, a village that every July becomes the stage for one of Europe's most extraordinary living traditions. Only one couple is chosen each year to wed in the Galichnik Wedding, an event that draws crowds from across the country, and increasingly, the world. What sets this celebration apart is its devotion to the centuries-old customs of the Mijak people. The wedding lasts 3 days and includes over 20 intricate rituals, from ceremonial dances like Teshkoto, which mourns the hardship of men leaving their villages for work abroad, to a horseback parade over mountain passes. Each step echoes a deeper story. The bridal attire itself is awe-inspiring, up to 40 kilograms of hand-stitched symbols representing fertility, protection, and ancestral connection. It's less of a dress and more of a spiritual map, worn not just for beauty but for meaning. And while the modern world rushes to simplify love, swipe right, online vows, express ceremonies, Galichnik reminds us that love can still be epic. Here, a wedding isn't about speed or spectacle, it's about belonging, storytelling, and the endurance of heritage. Ready to reimagine Europe? North Macedonia isn't just a destination, it's an awakening, a place where your head might nod no, but your heart will say yes again and again. So, would you rather share a 3-hour coffee with a stranger in a cloud-covered village or dance the teshkoto under the stars? Tell us in the comments. What part of North Macedonia would you want to experience first? The Macedonian Handshake, a grip that speaks volumes. In North Macedonia, a handshake carries far more than politeness. It's a silent testament to how much you respect someone. Forget the limp, perfunctory greetings common in some parts of the world. Here, people meet palm to palm with a firm, grounded handshake that feels more like a contract than a courtesy. What makes it unique? The strength and sincerity of the gesture apply equally to men and women. A strong handshake isn't just accepted, it's expected. Whether you're closing a business deal in Skopje or greeting someone at a family celebration in a mountain village, your grip sets the tone. Weak handshakes, they may be read as disinterest or worse, dishonesty. This emphasis on firmness mirrors the Macedonian way of speaking, warm, direct, and honest. A handshake here isn't just about your hands, it's about the energy you bring, the eye contact you hold, and the unspoken message. I respect you. In a society where honor and tradition still hold sway, this simple gesture becomes a powerful bridge, one that can lead to friendship, partnership, or even family-level trust. Macedonian coffee, where time slows and spirits speak. In a world obsessed with speed, North Macedonia has turned coffee into a full-blown philosophy of slowness. In cities like Skopje and Bitola, it's not uncommon to see groups of friends gathered around a single table, sipping strong black coffee for hours. No rush, no laptops, just presence. The coffee itself is no ordinary brew. It's often made the traditional way, in a small jezve, a copper pot, over open flame, creating a rich, unfiltered cup similar to Turkish coffee. It's poured in small doses and savored slowly, each sip stretching into minutes of conversation. It's not about caffeine, it's about connection. And then there's the magic at the bottom of the cup, fortune-telling. Once the coffee is gone, the cup is turned upside down and left to rest. The resulting patterns in the grounds are interpreted, sometimes seriously, sometimes playfully, to reveal secrets, upcoming journeys, or unexpected love. While mostly done among friends and family, this custom carries an ancient charm that turns every coffee break into a moment of wonder. In North Macedonia, coffee isn't a quick fix. It's a shared ritual, a cultural heartbeat. And it dares to ask, what if slowing down was the most meaningful act of all? North Macedonian cuisine, where every bite tells a story. To eat in North Macedonia is to taste the layers of its history. Here, the bold spices of the Balkans meet the refined simplicity of the Mediterranean and the rich, slow-cooked depth of Ottoman cuisine. It's not fusion. It's legacy, served hot on every plate. One national favorite is tavche gravche, a dish of white beans baked to perfection in clay pots. Seasoned with paprika, onions, herbs, and sometimes chili oil, it delivers a balance of comfort and complexity. It's especially popular during holidays, and the way each family prepares it speaks volumes about their roots. Some recipes are handed down like heirlooms, unchanged for generations. Another staple is ajvar, the red gold of Macedonian kitchens. This smoky pepper spread is made from roasted red bell peppers, garlic, eggplant, and olive oil. Villages turn into open-air kitchens every fall, where neighbors gather to roast, peel, and stir huge cauldrons of ajvar in an almost sacred seasonal tradition. It's not just food, it's folklore on a spoon. Then there's pizza maja, a contemporary twist on the classic pizza, layered with local cheese, Balkan-cured meats, wild herbs, and often wild mushrooms. It represents a new creative Macedonia, one that respects the old ways, but isn't afraid to experiment. Here, every meal invites you to slow down, talk longer, and live more deeply. From shared plates at weddings to quiet dinners in the countryside, Macedonian cuisine reminds us that food is more than sustenance. It's memory, connection, and celebration. Pazar, organized chaos in the theater of trade. Right in the beating heart of Skopje, Pazar is more than just a marketplace. It's a living, breathing mosaic of Macedonia's soul. Imagine rows of mismatched stalls where bottles of homemade rakija sit beside retro Nokia phones, antique Zippo lighters, and hand-woven slippers. It's as if someone took a history book, a garage sale, and a street fair, then mixed them together under one sky. But don't let the disorder fool you. Pazar functions on a rhythm all its own. It's not about clean lines or shopping carts. It's about intuition, hustle, and human connection. Here, haggling isn't a transaction. It's a performance. Buyer and seller size each other up, exchange jokes, and engage in a dance of prices that's half competition, half camaraderie. In Pazar, to negotiate well is to live well. It means reading people, valuing stories over sticker tags, and knowing when to push and when to smile. You might walk away with a second-hand wool coat or a Soviet-era trinket, but what you really gain is an experience you won't forget. More than a market, Pazar is a time capsule of Skopje's past and a reminder that not all treasures come with barcodes. In a world of digital checkouts and silent clicks, this marketplace hums with the irreplaceable sound of human exchange. North Macedonian festivals, where celebration becomes storytelling. Want to understand the Macedonian heart? Don't just visit a museum, step into a festival. Across the seasons, this small country bursts to life with rituals that are equal parts art, rebellion, and heartfelt tradition. Take the Vevchani Carnival, for example, an annual event that turns the quiet mountain village into a surreal parade of demons, spirits, historical figures, and cheeky caricatures of local politicians. With roots stretching back over 1,400 years, it's part theatrical satire, part ancient rite. Underneath the laughter and wild costumes lies something deeper, a communal cleansing of the soul, a fearless voice against conformity. Then there's the Ohrid Summer Festival, where high culture finds a home by the lake. Each summer, the city becomes a canvas for classical concerts, ballet, opera, and avant-garde performances, all unfolding beneath ancient stone amphitheaters and moonlit skies. You haven't really heard Tchaikovsky until you've heard it echo off a 10th century fortress beside Lake Ohrid. And let's not forget the iconic Galichnik Wedding, where folklore, music, and love intertwine in an alpine celebration that turns tradition into theater. Whether you're dancing in a mountain procession or watching masks swirl in a village square, one thing is clear. Macedonians don't just party, they narrate who they are, and they do it with spirit, satire, and style. Vevchani, a village that invented its own nation. Hidden in the shadow of the Gevgelija Mountains lies a place that rewrote the rulebook of identity. Welcome to Vevchani, a village so fiercely proud of its heritage that it once declared itself a republic. Back in the early 1990s, as Yugoslavia dissolved and nations reshuffled, the people of Vevchani took a different path. They didn't seek independence through revolution or politics. Instead, they created the Republic of Vevchani, complete with a whimsical constitution, a national flag, and even their own tourist visa system. It was less about secession and more about symbolism, a creative stand to preserve their centuries-old customs, language, and spirit. And they've kept the magic alive. Visitors can still receive an official-looking visa stamp in their passports, explore the village as honorary citizens, and immerse themselves in the local rhythm of life. At the heart of this micronation is the Vevchani carnival, where every alley becomes a stage and every costume tells a story. It's a place where satire meets ritual, where community pride turns into creative defiance, and where folklore breathes freely. In a world where cultural uniqueness is often diluted, Vevchani stands as a reminder that identity isn't something handed down, it's something fiercely imagined and proudly performed. Trapeeka, where life moves to the rhythm of the lake. South of Lake Ohrid, along winding mountain paths that look like brushstrokes from an ancient painting, lies Trapeeka, a village so still, it feels like time stopped here on purpose. No traffic noise, no glowing screens, just the soft clinking of cowbells, the rustle of olive trees, and the occasional call of fishermen heading out before dawn. In Trapeeka, mornings start at 4 a.m. Not with emails or alarm clocks, but with freshly baked bread, morning prayers, and the smell of wood smoke curling through the cool air. Children read from paper books, build forts from branches, and learn the ways of the land not from apps, but from their elders. Cell signals are faint, but human connection, stronger than ever. Visitors don't come here for luxury. They come to remember. To sit beside a clay stove, eat fish pulled from the lake just hours earlier, and share stories over hand-picked greens and crusty loaves made by the village's oldest baker. This is where technology steps aside and the essentials of life, warmth, food, friendship, take center stage. Trapeeka may not appear in glossy travel brochures, but for those craving authenticity, it offers something far rarer, a life fully lived, one slow moment at a time. Gevgelija, the village where trust replaces currency. Imagine a place where you never need cash, credit cards, or Venmo, and not because it's primitive, but because it's built entirely on trust. Welcome to Gevgelija, a real village in North Macedonia where people live without money in their pockets, yet never go without. Here, everything operates on a barter system. You might trade a jar of forest honey for a knitted scarf, or spend an afternoon helping a neighbor fix their roof in exchange for homemade yogurt and firewood. No receipts, no ledgers, just hands-on help, shared goods, and mutual respect. Gevgelija isn't anti-modern. It's postmodern in the purest sense, a conscious choice to prioritize relationships over revenues, sustainability over speed. The villagers see wealth not as something banked, but something built through collaboration and care. And surprisingly, it works. There are no food shortages, no evictions, no loneliness. What they lack in gadgets and gigabytes, they make up for with generosity and interdependence. Galichnik is a reminder that sometimes the most revolutionary way to live is the oldest one of all. Could you thrive in a place where you pay with time, kindness, and cheese? Or would the absence of Wi-Fi send you packing? Share your answer. No credit card required. Skopje, a city that remembers without standing still. Set amid the shifting histories of the Balkans, Skopje, North Macedonia's capital, carries itself with quiet dignity. It doesn't rush like Paris or pulse like Istanbul. Instead, it moves at a reflective pace, bridging eras without losing its rhythm. At its core stands the stone bridge, built in the 15th century and still guiding footsteps across the Vardar River. Crossing it feels symbolic, like walking from one century into another. On one side, gleaming new buildings and modern cafes. On the other, the old bazaar, a labyrinth of cobblestone lanes where copperware glints in shop windows and the scent of fresh baklava wafts through the air. As evening falls, Skopje glows, not from neon, but from golden lamps casting halos on riverbanks and statues. Musicians strum heartfelt melodies, families stroll beneath leafy boulevards, and street vendors serve grilled corn and chestnuts to passers-by. Skopje doesn't shout its identity, it shares it gently. In its statues, arches, and whispered alleyways, the city tells a story of resilience, elegance, and reinvention. It's a place that asks you to slow down, take a breath, and remember what it means to belong to both past and present. North Macedonia, Europe's quiet paradise for ecotourism. Though landlocked and often overlooked, North Macedonia is quietly emerging as one of Europe's last untouched ecotourism gems. This isn't the place for high-end resorts or crowded boardwalks. It's for the traveler who craves nature in its purest form, where every mountain trail and lake ripple feels deeply personal. Start with Lake Ohrid, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the oldest lakes on the planet. More than 1,000,000 years old, this emerald basin cradles an ecosystem found nowhere else on Earth. Schools of endemic fish glimmer beneath its glassy surface, and ancient lakeside monasteries still echo with whispered prayers. Visitors don't just come here to swim, they come to connect, to kayak past centuries-old villages and feel time slow to the rhythm of the water. A short drive from Skopje brings you to Matka Canyon, a geological marvel of sheer cliffs, hidden caves, and spring-fed emerald channels. Kayaking through the canyon reveals nature at its most dramatic, especially when you reach Vrelo Cave, where cathedral-like stalactites tower overhead and divers descend into a watery world so deep its bottom has never been confirmed. And in the northwest, Mavrovo National Park unfolds across alpine meadows and dense forests, a sanctuary for wolves, brown bears, and rare birds like the imperial eagle. Skiers glide through its powdery slopes in winter, while summer brings hikers, horseback riders, and stargazers eager to escape into wild, unfiltered beauty. North Macedonia may not appear on bucket lists like Switzerland or Croatia, but that's precisely why it feels like a discovery. Here, ecotourism isn't curated. It's lived, wild, quiet, and soul-replenishing. The plastic bag with a story, nostalgia wrapped in nylon. In much of the world, plastic bags are a disposable afterthought, but in North Macedonia, they carry something deeper, memory. Tucked away in closets and kitchen drawers, you'll find old shopping bags from decades ago, some yellowed with age, others still crisp, with fading logos from now-defunct stores or bakeries that vanished long ago. For older generations, these bags aren't just practical, they're personal time machines. One might recall a market trip with a parent, the first imported item purchased after the fall of Yugoslavia, or a rare trip abroad during more turbulent times. A bag from a socialist-era supermarket may evoke laughter, longing, or pride, depending on who's holding it. But this isn't just nostalgia. It reflects a culture where nothing is taken for granted. In a globalized world that encourages throwaway habits, Macedonians quietly resist. They reuse, repurpose, and revalue, even the most ordinary objects, out of both tradition and principle. These old plastic bags are more than keepsakes. They're micro-monuments to resilience, a kind of living archive of a generation that learned to hold on to their things, their memories, and their stories. Affordable freedom, North Macedonia's low-cost, high-quality living. If you're dreaming of a peaceful lifestyle that doesn't empty your bank account, North Macedonia might just be the answer. With a monthly budget of $600 to $900, you can live comfortably in a city like Skopje, rent included. That's not a travel hack, it's everyday reality. A spacious, fully furnished apartment can cost as little as $250 per month, often with views of mountains, lakes, or leafy neighborhoods. Groceries at local markets are fresh and affordable. Dining out with friends? Often less than $10. Even weekend getaways to nature spots won't break the bank. This budget-friendly lifestyle is attracting a growing number of digital nomads, retirees, and artists looking to swap stress for serenity. But the savings aren't just financial, they're emotional. Without the pressure of sky-high living costs, you regain time. Time to wander through morning markets, to share slow meals, to linger over a 3-hour coffee and still have the day ahead of you. Best of all, you're not just saving money, you're gaining life. The community-oriented culture, slower pace, and beautiful natural surroundings offer a sense of well-being that can't be downloaded or delivered. In North Macedonia, the cost of living may be low, but the quality of life is immeasurably rich. The head shake. That means yes, Macedonia's body language twist. If you're visiting North Macedonia for the first time, don't be surprised if a conversation leaves you completely bewildered. and not because of the language. It's the body language that trips up most newcomers. In a surprising cultural twist, Macedonians shake their heads to mean yes and nod to mean no. That's right, the exact opposite of what's expected across much of the Western world and even Asia. A gentle nod might actually be a polite refusal, while a headshake could signal agreement. Cue the accidental misunderstandings. While the exact origin of this reversal isn't fully known, some scholars trace it back to Ottoman influence or ancient Balkan traditions where gestures carried layered meanings. Today, many urban Macedonians know how to code switch their gestures when talking to foreigners, but in rural areas, the traditional gestures are still alive and natural. Over time, this reversal becomes more than just a quirky habit. It becomes a lesson in paying attention to the subtleties of communication. In North Macedonia, you learn that words are only half the conversation. The rest? It's all in the silent rhythm between the lines, and in this case, between the nods and shakes. The boat is a father's blessing, a Macedonian rite of manhood. In the tranquil lakeside village of Trapeeka, an old custom still holds deep meaning. When a young man turns 18, he's given a boat by his father or grandfather. Not a store-bought present, but a handmade vessel crafted from local wood, an heirloom that speaks louder than words. This isn't just a gift. It's a rite of passage, a symbol that the boy is now a man, ready to navigate life's waters on his own. More than a fishing tool, the boat represents independence, responsibility, and the continuation of a tradition that values quiet strength and loyalty to family. The moment is marked with a lakeside gathering where villagers cheer as the young man rows into the calm, ancient waters for the first time. It's not a loud celebration, but a powerful one. Without speeches or ceremony, it says, "I'm ready now." In an age of paper certificates and digital milestones, Trapeeka's boat-giving ceremony stands out, a timeless, tangible way of saying, real growth is measured by action, not applause. Macedonian women, where love is courageous and real. For many visitors, especially men, one of the most unexpected and refreshing discoveries in North Macedonia is the way women express love, boldly, honestly, and with striking emotional clarity. Here, affection isn't wrapped in hesitation or outdated roles. A Macedonian woman might be the first to initiate a conversation, invite you for a lakeside walk, or even confess her feelings if the connection feels real. This openness isn't seen as aggressive. It's a mark of maturity and emotional integrity. Love here isn't casual or scripted. It's deep, personal, and meant to transform. It's not uncommon for relationships to blossom through shared meals, folk songs, or handwritten notes. It's a romance that makes you want to become a better version of yourself, not just to impress someone, but because you feel truly seen. In Macedonia, love isn't about playing games. It's about showing up with your whole heart. That's why so many travelers fall in love, not just with the landscape, but with the women who carry it in their soul. So, what would you choose? A love that tiptoes, or one that sweeps you off your feet? In North Macedonia, she might make the first move and still leave you speechless. Which Macedonian surprise would you choose first? North Macedonia is a land where tradition and surprise walk hand in hand, where a handshake carries meaning, a plastic bag holds memory, and a boat becomes a rite of passage. It's where you sip coffee for 3 hours, haggle like an artist, and maybe, just maybe, fall in love with someone who makes the first move. So, if you could dive into just one of these stories first, what would it be? The village with no money but plenty of trust? The lakeside moment that redefines adulthood? Or a fearless romance beneath the Balkan stars? Tell us below. Which part of Macedonia would steal your heart first?